Who you are and your connection, where you live.
Elizabeth and Philip Irving. We live in Long Meadow. We've been members with our son Mark for 21 years. Our son was bar mitzvahed here. This place holds many wonderful memories for us.
This is my wife, Andrea Brunel. I'm David Brunel.
And we've been members here for about 5 years. Our daughter was bar mitzvahed here. We've been members of all the other synagogues. Not all of them, but we've been members of other synagogues, and this is the place that really felt like home.
What's your daughter's name?
Haley.
What made this special to you?
Well, I grew up going to an Orthodox synagogue, so the level of egalitarianism here was very, very important.
What's your name and your connection?
Claudia and Howard Kowarski. We're members for 44 years. I was past sisterhood president for 3.5 years. My sons were both bar mitzvahed here, and it's been an honor to be here.
I was brotherhood president for 5 years. Because of my wife being sisterhood president, she offered my services to make potato latkes, and I made them for 14 years.
Remember some of the rabbis?
And I was one of the founders from the bingo that we have.
Rabbi Silver, Rabbi Rudolph, Rabbi Green, Rabbi Samuels.
Give us your name, please, and your connection to B'nai Jacob.
Jeanette Asher, and we joined B'nai Jacob when the building was built in Long Meadow. And I remember when the first bar mitzvah was Joe Oaken's son, and my husband was busy screwing the bolts on the chairs just to make sure that everything was ready for.
What's your husband's name?
Harold Asher. He's been gone for 18 years.
And that was the funeral home, Asher's funeral home?
We started the funeral home. And now my grandson is in charge with his partner.
I'm the new rabbi at Bethel, Amy Katz.
Oh, welcome.
I'm her husband.
So we have a role.
Now, it's actually the first time I've been here.
When did you arrive in Spring?
About 6 weeks ago. July the 18th.
Where did you come from?
Kansas City.
Overland Park, Kansas, to be exact.
And everything is up to date there.
Oh, yes, well. Which synagogue in Kansas City?
Congregation Beth Shalom.
You're welcome. I'm sure we'll
Thank you.
interview you on other occasions.
I look forward to it.
Tell us your name and how long you've been associated with this synagogue.
My name is Eileen Rotman. I've been a member for 5 years, and for the past 2.5 years, I've been the treasurer.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna Liptek. I've been the office manager here for 9.5 years, and I'm going to miss it. And this is my friend Ron, who has supported me through all of this.
My name is Harold Oaken.
And your relationship to this synagogue?
Well, my grandfather was one of the early presidents. My father was a later president. My uncle actually was the man who undertook the building of this temple. That happens to be Rob's father. Rob's father was instrumental actually in putting this whole building together when he was president. And outside of that, I don't know what else I can tell you except we enjoyed. This is my friend Ethel and Bessel.
I belong to Bethel.
Well, he'll be coming to Bethel.
That's right.
What did you do for a living, Mr. Oaken?
I was a stockbroker.
Up here?
Yeah, I worked in Hartford, Connecticut for about 30-some odd years. Rabbi Can I get and what else can I?
What did you do for a living?
School teacher.
A school teacher. Okay, we'll catch you again later. Thank you.
My name is Regina Felfer, and I'm Doug Whitman's friend.
My name is Douglas Winneman, and I've been a member since the building opened. I forgot what year it was. It was 1960 or so.
Where did you go to services before that?
I was at Bethesda.
And you're going to be going now to Bethel?
Well,
Thank you.
I'm Elizabeth Wexford.
Yes, and what synagogue do you belong to?
I belong to Bethel, but I've been coming to B'nai Jacob to a study group after Sunday morning minion since January, and I really love the group.
Hi, my name's Mary Ann Williams. My wife is Elizabeth Wexford. We both are members of Bethel, and we're very excited that the two synagogues are merging. We're really hoping that a lot of the spirit and drive and knowledgeable Judaism that really has marked the synagogue for so many years will maybe wake up Bethel a little bit, and definitely it'll be an asset. I can't wait to see all of you there. Thank you.
Thank you. What's your name and your connection to this place?
Bob Kirsten, and I'm a member. I've been a member for 20 years or so.
Who was the rabbi when you joined?
Gary Green.
Gary Green over there, right?
Yes.
And who are the rabbis after that?
Oh, I don't remember their names.
Do you have children?
Yes, I have children. They were all bar mitzvahed here, and it is a great place.
It is. Thank you.
Hi, we're Ron and Elaine Shepherd. We've been members of B'nai Jacob for a long time. And we're here today to say goodbye to a very special institution.
How long have you been a member?
Since before our son's first bar mitzvah, so I would say a good 12, 13 years.
Who was the rabbi when you came?
It was Gary Green. And our second child, Andrea, was bat mitzvahed with Rabbi Bernstein. And our third daughter was bat mitzvahed with Rabbi Bernstein.
So to give us your names?
Howie and Ray Davis.
Which one's Howie?
This is correct. It's asked a lot of times. It is.
So how long have you been members here?
35 years.
That's all? Who was the rabbi then?
Rabbi Samuels is our first rabbi. Yeah.
And your kids all grew up here?
Yes. Both kids, both bar mitzvah here. Yeah, they were. And we're going to miss this place.
It's been a part of our life for a long time, almost as long as we've been in this area.
No question. So we hope everybody does well in their new endeavors across town, and we're just going to miss this building.
So let me ask you a theoretical question. If it's the building you're going to miss, would you consider coming to as an Orthodox synagogue?
Absolutely not.
I see. Okay.
Not even close.
Right. Just a question.
Not an option, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Ann Fang, and this is my husband Stuart Ann Fang. And we have a few memorable events at B'nai Jacob, including our daughter's baby naming, Emily Ann Fang. And it was actually B'nai Jacob that lured us to Long Meadow in the first place 13 years ago.
Where were you coming from?
We were living in Boston. We were following the mezuzahs down Blueberry Hill Road, and we landed right into this shul, and they were having a tag sale, and who was it?
Charlie Ryder's wife, whatever.
And her mother, Leslie Ryder, and her mother told us all about how beautiful Long Meadow is, and so we were sold.
You just picked up and left?
Well,
Yes.
it was a little bit more complicated story.
What do you do for livings?
We're both psychiatrists.
You need that any place.
Place, yeah. But I was involved in the committee that actually interviewed Rabbi Rudolph when we hired him. We actually, shortly thereafter, for a variety of reasons, moved to Bethel, but we've been involved in that process, and in fact involved in the process leading to the new rabbi and the merger. So we feel like we're coming full circle now. Jacob joining with Bethel and a new vibrant life in the Springfield conservative community. So.
Our first home and our
you're in charge.
Our first home and our second home coming together.
Exactly. So we're delighted to be here to celebrate. So.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Don't you have a sister?
Yes. She passed away December 27th.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. She had a sister. They looked just alike. always together.
Always.
So tell us your name.
Ruth Wall, W-O-L-K.
And how long have you been a member of this synagogue?
Forever.
Forever? How long is
96 years old.
So since you can remember?
I know we moved from downtown, and I used to go to the downtown one.
So from the north end?
That's right, so that's a long time ago. So I really belong to this synagogue.
So you were present here when they switched from an Orthodox to a conservative.
As a matter of fact, I was standing here one day when the glass windows came in from Venice.
My name is Goldie Newman, and I've been connected with the synagogue for, like I said, over 75 years. It goes way back to the old synagogue on Congress Street, and my family was very involved. My grandfather was Nathan Oaken. The cornerstone is in his name, and I've just been connected all these years to the show.
You have children?
I have 5 daughters. One of them was married here. Yes.
I'm Larry.
I'm sorry, I'm Liz.
Levine, and we've been members of B'nai Jacob for the last 20 years. Both of our sons had their bar mitzvahs here, and we're sorry that it's
Your name, please, and your connection to this synagogue.
Bob Kahn. I've been a member for the last 22 years, and I'm a former president and a number of other offices in the shul.
And then your children grew up here?
My children grew up here and had their bar mitzvahs here. Yes. One of them lives in town. Mayor has 2 children. And our reason for being in Ann Arbor is we'll be having a child, Rashad Tobai, in March.
And you have a family business in town?
We have a family business, 3rd generation family business, Osgood Textile, which has been here since 1948.
And who's the founder?
My dad, Herb Kahn, who died 5 years ago last week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bee Hano, Frank Hano, and I grew up in Springfield, so it's been a little bit of part of my life. But I was married to Marvin Bayevsky, who died as a young man, and his family, for several generations, were very active here. Uncle Nathan Kaplan oversaw the building, the construction of this building, and they played a heavy hand, and their full hearts were in this building.
But you were not a member here?
We are not a member. My husband and I had decided to not join, but today my children, Bob and Yvonne Bayevsky, and my 3 grandchildren who live in town have been members here. So there's a long story, and I came for sentimental reasons.
That's very nice. Thank you. Hi, I'm Jane Trigere.
Hi, Scott Kaplan.
Scott.
Erica.
Erica, welcome to the community. So tell us, Scott and Erica Kaplan, and what's your relationship to this event?
We've been members of B'nai Jacob for 6 years since we moved to Long Meadow, and joined here originally because we really liked Rabbi Bernstein, Tracy, but have been members here and loved Rabbi Rudolph.
Found it a very warm, Hamish, welcoming community, and have really enjoyed our time as members here.
And are you moving over to Bethel?
We are. We're looking forward to really a united conservative movement here in the greater Springfield area.
Thank you.
My name is Mike Wrightson.
Kathy Wrightson.
And what brings you here tonight?
Oh, a sad, sad occasion. Really, Rabbi Rudolph's leaving, and, closing of B'nai Jacob as a synagogue.
How long have you been members here?
Not long enough. We're going on 3 years, and I wish we had joined decades ago.
Where were you going before?
Oh, it was quite a while. We belonged to several synagogues in town. But this was great. Sorry.
This was the best?
This was the best, yes.
Yeah, we're big fans of the rabbi, so we don't want to lose him. But Chicago's really lucky to get this guy.
Yes.
He's got the right touch, and
the people here are wonderful.
Yeah, it's really hard to break up a family like this. You know what that's like. They made us feel really, really very welcome right
How
from the
long have
start.
you been in this town?
A long time, decades.
25 years.
Yeah, we've been to other synagogues, and we spent a lot of time without any synagogue. But when we ran into Rabbi Rudolph, we knew this was the place, and it really proved to be. So
But you're not moving to Chicago.
What?
You're not moving to Chicago.
Well, we can't. No, we can't.
Are you going to Bethel?
We're going to try it out. We were at a meeting with their rabbi, and she really seems terrific and someone easy to get to like. But it's a big adjustment.
Thank you.
So it's nice you're doing this.
Thank you. Give me your names, please.
Jed Berliner.
Jed what?
Berliner.
Berliner.
Karen Blair.
And Karen Blair. And what's your connection to this building?
We've been members since 1996. We moved to Springfield in 1985. Springfield was a vibrant city, and it's been dying ever since. Perhaps because we moved here, we don't think so. Finally, Springfield has lost enough people without replenishment that this synagogue has to close, and it's certainly not limited to the Jewish population.
What brought you to Springfield?
We had a great job offer, and it was a vibrant small city at the time.
Would you share what that work was?
Leading a trial department for a large law firm here in town.
I would have guessed you're a lawyer anytime. Hi, who are you?
I'm Howard Hausman. I've been a member here since 1981. I was married on this bima. My 2 children were bar mitzvahed here, past president, etc., etc. I can tell you, I don't have a lot of mixed emotions. It's mostly negative, sad emotions. But although the body of B'nai Jacob will no longer exist as an institution, the heart and soul will beat on in the form of our rabbi going to Chicago. So that I feel is the heart and soul of B'nai Jacob. Still will continue to exist. It's just going to be
But
relocated.
you're not moving to Chicago.
I'm what?
You're not moving to Chicago.
Oh, I may become an associate member.
Thank you. Hi. Can we have your name?
Michael and Ann Chernin.
Chernin?
Chernin.
Chernin.
C-H-E-R-N-I-C-K.
Chernin. And what's your connection to this building?
Well,
We're members of the synagogue. Michael has been a member for a very long time.
my father and mother belonged here, my grandfather, the past president of the synagogue. We're one of probably, I'm the only 3rd generation family member I think left in the building. I think there might be 1 or 2 others. So today is a day with some great sadness. But time marches on. What can you say? I heard what Howie Hausman had to say, and I echo what he had to say, that hopefully the spirit will carry on.
My name is Helen Cohen.
And what's your connection to B'nai Jacob?
My husband's family were one of the first families here. And we were on Congress Street, I guess.
How many years do you remember at Congress Street?
My husband was always a member of Congress Street, and he'd be 93 now, so he was a member for a long time.
Will you remember when it was at Congress Street?
Yes.
Do you remember the move?
I do.
What was a memorable event that happened?
Well, I was glad that it was up here so that we didn't have to go down the other end of the city. It was nice. It was wonderful. And it's sad that it's not going to be here anymore.
Thank you.
My name is Jonathan Goldsmith. I'm president of Bethel Temple. And this is bittersweet. It's certainly bitter because of the closure of B'nai Jacob, but it's sweet that we are joining together as one united conservative synagogue in Springfield.
How long have you been in Springfield?
I have been in Springfield my whole life. Grew up in Long Meadow and been a member of Temple since birth.
Thank you. What's your name and what are you doing here tonight?
My name is Judd Peskin, and I'm here because I've been a member of the synagogue for, I think, over 20 years.
Who was the rabbi when you came?
Rabbi was Gary Green.
Are you still a member?
Yes. Well, until next month.
And are you going to Bethel?
Yes.
What brought you to the synagogue in the first place?
Oh, my goodness. I think it was a whole lot of people our age. We were much younger in those days. And I think a lot of people our age joined roughly at the same time. So there was a large cohort of people in their early 30s, late 20s, and we felt very comfortable joining with them. It's a nice small synagogue.
Are you related to Debbie?
Peskin? That's my sister-in-law. She's married to my brother.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you tell me your name?
Jerry Gerlin, Rabbi Jerome Gerlin, Western New England College.
And what brings you here tonight?
Well, at one point I served as the rabbi of the congregation at a time when Rabbi Green was on sabbatical for a year in Jerusalem. And my family are members of the congregation.
Your family?
Yes, Cherniks.
Yeah, we just
Michael, Ann, and the little ones. Not so little now.
When you say Winnick, you're a rabbi at a college?
At Western New England College.
What does that mean to be a rabbi at a college?
It means, in my case, to teach, to preach, to program, and a host of other things that can be done by a rabbi.
I'm Howard.
I'm Ellen. We're the Smith Lines. And we've been at B'nai Jacob since 1994. We've had 3 kids, and we've had 2 baby namings, 1 brisk, and just recently, our oldest, Rachel's bat mitzvah.
Will you be going to Bethel?
Yes, we'll be going to Bethel.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
And Michael Rosner.
And what brings you here tonight?
We're from Congregation Sons of Zion in Holyoke, where the rabbi was our rabbi before he came here.
Oh, that's very nice.
So we are just very pleased for everything that's happened to him and for his...
We wish him a wonderful career in Illinois.
Yes, and we're just happy to be here.
Yes, we're Joe Levine and
Steve Levine.
And what brings you here tonight?
We are here tonight for this wonderful event honoring Mark Rudolph, who served as our rabbi at Congregation Sons of Zion a couple years back.
Sons of Zion, where is that?
And that's in Holyoke, Massachusetts.
And you are the...
President, and Joan is the secretary.
of the board. And we wish Mark much continued success in his career, and that we appreciated all that he has contributed to our community.
And I think it'll be a big loss to this community for him to be leaving at this time, but it'll be Naperville, Illinois is gained, so it's a balance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Max Chirowski. I'm a physician, and I was president of B'nai Jacob from the years 2003 to 2005. B'nai Jacob was the synagogue I selected in 1985 for my family, and so we've been here for 23 years. We've seen some very, very wonderful people. This was the shul that I felt closest to all along, and the people were just absolutely wonderful. And this is, we keep saying the word Hamish, but it actually, all shuls have Hamish people in it. But this shul really embodied it from the very beginning. They were just very warm people, and the rabbis have been wonderful. Rabbi Green and his wife Judy were very close to my family. Rabbi Bernstein and his wife Tracy, who just a few days ago, before he went off to sabbatical in Israel, married our last daughter Sylvie, and certainly Rabbi Rudolph. So we have some wonderful memories, and we fell victim, of course, to the demographics and the economics. There weren't jobs for our children in this area, and so we have one daughter that's in the Washington D.C. area, another two daughters in the Boston area, because there just aren't jobs over here. So without a next generation, the only logical thing to do was to strengthen conservative Judaism and to go on to join our cousins over at Bethel. I think that it'll be a wonderful cooperative effort. We're very independent. We don't need committees and job designations in order to do things for the shul, and they're suffering from a little lack of energy, and I think we're going to transfuse them with that energy. So the Jewish community in Springfield will be stronger for it. One of the reasons that I'm very optimistic about the future is that the leadership over at Bethel keeps asking me, what will work? What will make the people of B'nai Jacob comfortable in the new surroundings, given that they're giving
Who's
us
the
so
leadership
much?
that you're mentioning?
And so, of course, John Goldsmith, who's the president, Reverend Amelia, Cantor Berkey has said to me, what are the tunes that you use on the high holidays that you'd feel sad if you didn't hear them? And of course, Rabbi Katz has been unwavering in her support for the B'nai Jacob people to come and join and take part in services. I've already read Torah over there when Reverend Amelia was on vacation, and she and I are working on how to make the morning minyan people more comfortable when their two practices are slightly different. Can we take some of the B'nai Jacob practices and bring them over to Bethel? That means a whole lot.
Give me an example about what different practices.
Oh, there's some singing that we do that's a little different than theirs. There's some prayers that they emphasize or that we emphasize or just some things might have a choice of doing a certain order, whether you do something first or another thing first. In fact, she has asked if it would help to bring over our Sidurim, which are a little bit different than their Sidurim. We have the newer Sem Shalom, they have the older Sem Shalom. Can we bring ours over and get a few more? And so, just in 2 weeks when we start coming over there for morning services, it'll be the prayer book that we're used to. And even if it's going to mean a little bit of a change for the Bethel people, they're just trying to do everything they can to make us feel comfortable.
Wonderful to hear that. Thank you for that additional piece.
Let me tell you what we did last year.
This is for Bernice Karolinski.
Right.
Yeah.
It's when she was 90.
Yeah.
Since her birthday's the 17th, and it was the Jewish high holidays. So the first day of the Jewish high holidays, we had my brother, flown in. My sister came in with her, with her husband, and we're sitting like in the pews, and we brought her in, with the wheelchair, and to her surprise, all her children were here. So she was happy, and she was joyous, and she was elated. On the second day, we brought in the great-grandchildren, all the great-grandchildren. So the whole entire family was here. We had 2 rows full, so when she came in and all of a sudden saw the grandchildren, and she had not yet met her great-grandchildren, she was in tears. So then afterwards we had the Masiba, and we all had a good time, and we celebrated her 90th birthday. So how do you top that?
So what were you doing? Karl Karlinski.
Yeah.
So what did you want to tell us about B'nai Jacob?
B'nai Jacob. And if you look at the cornerstone really is Nathan Oken. And Nathan was actually my aunt who was married to my uncle who was a Kurlan. That was her father. And
what's the aunt's name that we're talking about here?
That was Sarah Oken. Louis Kurlinski, who is my first cousin, who's an Oken because of his mother being an Oken. Now, when they first started the congregation was an Orthodox congregation, and it was. I think this congregation more or less made its transition in about 1963. I want to say about that era, and when it opened up its doors, it was actually an Orthodox congregation, and the rift that occurred when they decided to go conservative. Oh my God.
Why did they decide to go conservative?
Because part of the membership, wanted to go conservative.
It didn't have to do with Rabbi Shankov?
Well, Rabbi Shankov was the rabbi, and I believe Kalman Haitusky might have been the cantor at the time. This was before the formation of Kesser Israel. And that's when Kesser Israel, right after the breakup or the division of becoming a conservative congregation, that Kesser Israel opened its doors under the auspices of Rabbi Shankov and under Kalman Haitusky. But I remember in the early days there was a lot of bad blood, but the congregants took it in with open arms as a conservative congregation. But a lot of people don't realize of those 100 years. Many of those years, it was an Orthodox congregation.
A very short amount of years. Here, in this building.
Yes.
Right.
And that's just one thing I just wanted to, put onto record, that people, that many of the congregants never realized that it was an Orthodox.
So it's going back to being an Orthodox synagogue.
I guess what comes around else comes around. And then there was fun times that we've had here. Like one time I cleared out the whole area of the woods, and we had our Hebrew school had celebration, and we did Lag Bomer right over here in the woods. So if you look back and you see it a little bit cleared, that was done by me and a few other people in the congregation. And the many years of delivering the shrach for the sukkah.
So you grew up here as a kid?
I grew up here. I've been here 54 years.
54 years.
Or 54 young years, as we like to say now. And it's going to be sad to see some of the congregants go, but I got a feeling some will still remain.
Yeah.
I know I will. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm Henry Hazenbush. This is my wife.
I'm Corey Tratner. We've been members for 23 years.
And we're here because B'nai Jacob has been such an important part of our lives.
Who was the rabbi when you came?
Rabbi Gary Green.
Do you remember the names of the others along the way?
We had Rabbi Gary Green, and we had Rabbi Michael Bernstein, Rabbi Rudolph.
Those are the three principal. There was
a couple of another little one in there.
Yeah.
And are you going to be going to Bethel?
No.
No.
We're going to CBI.
CBI in Northampton. Is there a reason you're not going to Bethel?
Let's put it positive.
We enjoy CBI. We really liked it. We felt that it was the closest to the Hamisha feeling that we have here.
Yeah, I'd rather put it in positive terms.
My name is Ellen Smithline. I'm the co-chair for the Tribute Committee, and I welcome all of you here tonight. You should give yourselves a round of applause. We've come far. As you know, or may not know, we have a full agenda tonight. It's going to be filled with lots of surprises, lots of fun. What I would like to do, though, is first of all thank everyone on the Tribute Committee, and I would like all of you to stand up. What was so wonderful about being on this committee is that it wasn't work, it was just a lot of fun. And we always had a lot of fun whenever we've done any of our big shindigs here at B'nai Jacob. And I think this pretty much speaks for itself. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Thank you, all those on the Tribute Committee. We couldn't have done it without you. And I would like to announce the man of the hour, at least for the next 3.5 minutes that we have on the agenda. Michael Chernick is our Master of Ceremonies. So Mike, come on up.
This is all we need. Thank you. I was drafted because I said, logically, why not Wiener, who everyone knows is truly the voice of the congregation? And he somehow got under the couch. And then I said, how about Brunel? He's pretty funny. And this is what he gave me. These are his jokes. And then someone said, how about Dindis? And I said, well, I think he's too busy preparing for his own party. And so here we are. Got me. And I'm supposed to be funny. It says right in here, be funny. Oh, thank you.
You're a big one.
I am big. But the other people are shorter.
I'll leave you this.
Okay. So Brunel gave me some jokes, and I think the best one is really for Rabbi Rudolph. He wants you to know, Rabbi, that when you took him to conversion in the mikvah, the whole thing about shrinkage and cold water, he wants you to be aware of that. and that's his excuse, by the way. It's written down here. But honestly, I'm not, he gave me more jokes, and I don't know. I'm just going to go straight to Honey Youngman, which is the doctor gave a man 6 months to live. The man couldn't pay his bills, so he gave him another 6 months. We've had enough of Honey Youngman. Why do Jewish divorces cost so much? Because they're worth it. And so, enough. B'nai Jacob, as you look over this crowd, this is quite remarkable that we have this many people at a tribute for this small synagogue. And it says volumes. Number one volume is, where the heck were you on high holidays? But aside from that, it says volumes about how people feel about this community and their feelings about B'nai Jacob. And briefly, my thoughts are, people have always said, what's the big difference between B'nai Jacob and that other building that many of us are going to? And they've used the term Hamisha. And I don't buy that. I think it's a lot of hooey. I don't think there's good people and there's bad people in each building. And we're going to find that out real soon. I think the issue is that at B'nai Jacob, it was, welcome to B'nai Jacob, here's a rifle man the walls, and when you say, what about my training? You just got it. You signed up, you came here, there was a commitment. And it was a commitment, you knew that by being a member, it wasn't passive, you had to be involved. We were a religious democracy. And if you wanted a committee, be my guest, start the committee. If you want to make changes in ritual, be my guest. Talk to Max, talk to the rabbi. It's possible. If you want to do certain things, it was all on you. People got leadership roles. Without barely being in the building, look at myself. My goodness gracious. Most of the religious folk are saying, who the heck is this guy? And I became president of the synagogue overnight by not even being on the board. Lynn Goldberg had been in the building a couple of years as president of the synagogue. Bob Gershon was a tremendous asset and helped us raise so much money. And out of nowhere, this is B'nai Jacob. People step forward when they need to step forward. And that is the cultural difference I would suggest to you, that it was the notion of responsibility and commitment. Membership wasn't just paying and maybe showing up. Membership was being involved. And it was hard sometimes to be a member of B'nai Jacob, but for those who could endure, it was special, and that's why you're here, and that's why the commitment is here. In terms of what we're going to do now, it's a long program, but the first person I'm going to introduce is Lynn Goldberg. And for those of you who don't know, Lynn Goldberg stepped into an impossible situation. The train had left the tracks in terms of what the synagogue was going to do or wasn't going to do, but clearly we're going to do something. And she was asked to step into a situation, and I would suggest to you she did it remarkably well. Is supposed to come on up at this moment and give some brief remarks. So, Lynn? If you're wondering, there we go.
We just wanted to present some flowers to Lynn. It does not even begin to represent how much time and effort she's done for the congregation. And I know she hasn't had time to garden. She hasn't had time to do anything. but be here at B'nai Jacob. And this is just a small taste. Thank you.
Am I supposed to walk now or later?
Now.
Now?
Now.
These are beautiful. I can tell you my husband hasn't given me anything for a year because he's been really unhappy with the situation at home.
Hold on, stop for a second.
But I can understand that. And so I just, indeed, I just first want to welcome everybody here to this evening of coming together to join us in celebrating B'nai Jacob and the history of heritage that we all share together. I want to thank those who are from the community, who are not immediate B'nai Jacob members, who have been here to celebrate with us, especially our new Bethel family who's here to come and share with us and everybody else in the community. And indeed, it's been a tough year, but I'm not going to, we all know that. There's no reason to say that again. It is what it is, and unfortunately, to see this wonderful crowd, one would think, oh, we should be here forever. But just to remember that we are celebrating something that's important to each and every one of us. And indeed, there's a sense of loss, but we have within us the memories that we've all shared together. Whatever memories you have, those who are still with us, those who are no longer with us, who we still hold dear in our souls. And I think that, as sad as it is, it's an opportunity, as one of my congregants said, and I can't take credit for it, that we are replanting ourselves somewhere else. So Bethel, watch out. The spirit of B'nai Jacob is going to be haunting your hallways. We forever will be there as we are here, because this, as much of a wonderful building it is, and much of a wonderful community it is, our spirit will transcend from this location to our next. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn. If for whatever reason, during the course of this evening's activities, your name is not mentioned in one of the tributes as we thank people along the line, I can assure you it's a mistake of the brain, which is getting worse by the day, and not of the heart. So oftentimes we will thank people by committing an activity as opposed to their name, because we don't want to insult anyone. But I have to go back to Burnell, because this was handed to me, and this is good stuff. So, will the last one to leave B'nai Jacob please turn off the eternal flame? And I guess the obvious question was that one must ask is, Berliner, where'd you get the shirt? And thanks for dressing up tonight. Appreciate it. So the doctor called Mrs. Cohen saying, Mrs. Cohen, your check came back. Mrs. Cohen answered, so did my arthritis. Next. There's so many rabbis and distinguished people in the room. At this moment, before I introduce the various rabbis we're going to introduce, could all the rabbis in the room please stand up just to take a round of applause? And Rabbi Jerome Gerland's here, and if anyone didn't see, he's there as well. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce Rabbi Rudolph. But before we introduce Rabbi Rudolph, I must tell you that when this man came to our building, it was really a godsend. He did a fabulous job under trying circumstances. He was dedicated. He came to me regularly. I wouldn't know, but that's what people told me. And I would tell you, was just the kids really enjoyed him. My children really enjoyed him. And I'm speaking for the B'nai Jacob community, and I think for the entire community, why we wish you the best of luck in your new job. we will certainly miss you. And I can't imagine how you could be happier in Naperville, Illinois, which is only listed as one of the top 5 cities in America by Money Magazine and 4 other magazines, as opposed to Springfield. That said, I welcome you to come on up and speak, please.
B'nai Jacob has meant a great deal to me in my life. I've told this story before. This will probably be the final time I tell it. But when I came here I remember I came here in 1997. What year did you leave, Rabbi Green?
1997.
1997. So I read, I came here as the high holiday Rabbi Chazan. And I remember reading the Ten Commandments for my tryout here for High Holiday Chazan. And then I was a High Holiday Chazan for a couple of years here. After the second year, the congregation was without a rabbi, and they asked if I would give some kind of spiritual direction to the congregation as a Chazan. And I began to come down on Shabbos when I could and do some programming. And I worked so closely with Candace Kahn, who was the president at the time. It was the beginning of email, so we would email each other back and forth. And your response to me was so supportive and so wonderful. You made this job such a delight that it spurred me to change my life. And it encouraged me to apply to rabbinical school and to become a rabbi. Because the feedback that you gave me was so fulfilling. I found it so fulfilling, and it was all because this congregation gave back so much. And so it changed my life. If you don't think that Judaism can change your life, I'll tell you, it can change your life in dramatic ways. And when I became ordained, I had the joy of returning here as your rabbi. It has been the last 4 years has been life. It's been wonderful, it's been hard. It's been hard, as you know, personally for me, health-wise. You go to the depths, you go to the heights. But I have truly been enriched by my association with this congregation. The celebrations that we've had, the simchas, the worship that we've done together, the tears that we've shed together, the support that we've given one another. It is you really learn the true meaning of community if you have been a member of congregation B'nai Jacob. All things must end. Institutions have lifetimes, individuals have lifetimes, and it is the time for our institution to end. We bring so much, you bring so much with you to the merged congregation of Temple Beth El. It is another wonderful congregation in Springfield. And what we bring combined with what they already have, our combined histories, our combined spirits, our combined traditions, are going to make, I am sure, for a vibrant and wonderful Jewish community for the next 100 years at least. Everything changes, but I think when we look back at this, we'll see that these two congregations have laid the foundation for generations to come in the Springfield area. You are an important part of that. You've always been, this congregation has always been an important part of that. And the individuals who join with and merge with Congregation Bethel will continue to be a very important part of the future of Jewish life in this area and by extension in the world. So it's fitting to salute all of you tonight, to wish all of us, many people have come up to me, I am in a wonderful place right now as well. So I can go on and do whatever work God wants me to do in this world. And that's what everybody here needs to do as well. Go on, do the work that we need to do to support our community, to support Israel, and to keep the Jewish people moving forward one more generation. Thank you very much.
We have so many people in this room that we want to thank and not enough time, so I'm going to do this collectively. Will the past and present presidents stand up? Whoever was the president of the synagogue, please stand up. Will the past and present board members and whoever sat on the board please stand up? This is leading to the Will past and present Hebrew speakers please stand up? You know, B'nai Jacob, which has notoriously had a fabulous staff consisting of 2 people, oftentimes needed help. And the staffers oftentimes needed help, especially for the activities, to make sure these activities were attended. And we had here a group of heroes, if you will, who very silently, except for their phone calls, did the job to get folks to various activities, reminded people, call people if they were a phone bank. And I'm going to ask that these folks rise. And I'll introduce you. Shirley Graziano, Ida Salad, if she's in the room. Mary Wool, she's in the room. Vicki Donovan. Ann Padlock. Stand up if you've been asked to stand up. No? Okay. Marjorie Sherman, of course, Rose and Ruth. And a round of applause for those. And what they would do, if you were never a recipient, they would literally call the entire congregation and remind them there was an activity coming up. It was a wonderful little thing. And these people never asked for recognition, they just did it. It was fabulous. I think a moment has to be given to those who are no longer with us. And we have, one of the things that made B'nai Jacob was the fabulous personalities. And again, if I apologize if I forget names, because there were so many, and I hope my memory only goes back so far. But in the past few months, interestingly enough, after the vote to merger occurred, we lost several of these people. And that would be, of course, Ruthie, Goldband, and Elliot, Chet, my father, and one of the sisters. I mean, and I think we have to remember that B'nai Jacob was personalities. And I'd ask you all, just for a moment, And if I've missed names, please remind me while I'm sitting here and I'll mention them. But those are people who come to mind. And Ruthie in the kitchen, Chet with his advertising books, Elliot with his Tootsie Rolls, and Friday night services with the sisters, and oftentimes consisting just of them. So who can forget? And perhaps we could just all for a moment just give them some consideration, if we could. Thank you. Now, we haven't had, per se, a brotherhood and sisterhood for a while, but I think it's important. We have people who were very active in the brotherhood and sisterhood, and I'd like those people who are very active in the brotherhood and sisterhood to please stand up for recognition. There was a Millionaires Club, and this was consisting of many dedicated folk who would come fervently daven and go for coffee and bagels. Can those folks please stand up? And I have to mention some of these personalities. This table here is the archsages of the synagogue, if you will. Doug and Archie, Mr. Oken, Mr. Winneman, Jack, and of course Joe Lieberman, who's not with the Alpacacos. He's sitting with people down here. So, and Joe is perhaps the oldest member, not the oldest in terms of age, but the longest serving member in the congregation. And if you could please rise, please. And Joe tells the story of my grandfather and some other, and I use the term AKs lovingly, who would daven in the morning, and you can tell the story better than me, Joe, because you can actually name names, and they would come in and they would do their praying and finish up in a few minutes after davening fervently, and immediately go to the kitchen and grab a bottle of schnapps and pop it open, and that was a daily or ritual that they would do, and then walk home. They didn't walk. And of course, Elliot tells the story. Who can forget the story of Elliot? The Tootsie Roll. And for those of you who don't know, every young person who's been through this building has received Tootsie Rolls from Elliot. He was a Tootsie Roll man. And every kid in this building knows Elliot Allen for that reason. But he also tells a story of when the synagogue moved from the North End, of rescuing the lions. And the lions are sitting in a small chapel, and I think they're being rescued to move on to the next destination. And Elliot will be pleased by that. Now I'm going to ask members to stand up who have been with B'nai Jacob for under 5 years. If you've been in the synagogue for 5 years or less, will you please stand up? If you've been in the synagogue for 10 years, will you please stand up? This is what my script says. I didn't make it up. Thank you. For those who have been with us for 15 years, please rise. If for 20 years, please rise. And for 25 years, please rise up. 25 awards. Is there anyone left in the room who's a member of B'nai Jacob who has not stood up yet? Yeah. Stand up. Anybody more than 25 years, please stand up. Now, that was done for two purposes. Number one, so Bethel can ID you for contributions. And number two, because the Historical Society Society would like to, I think, speak, as I'm told, to some of the longtime serving members, get comments and observations, and I guess from everybody in full gamut from 1 year to 25 years. So if you haven't spoken to the Historical Society folk who are here, please do so at some point this evening. I think they want your comments and to record them. Next, I'm going to ask Lori Siegel to please come on up to give some gifts to some staff members.
I'm here to present the first of a series of gifts to special people for B'nai Jacob. And the first gifts I have tonight are for Stephanie Bustos and JJ for making the building look as nice as it does most of the time, for getting everything together on our grounds. And the other gift is for Diane, who is nice enough to come in on Saturdays and prepare everything.
Thank you. Elizabeth Irving, who I'm next going to ask to come up, she helped with Lori run the store at B'nai Jacob for God knows how many years, she can tell you. And I think we're still have inventory to sell. She's willing to haggle with whoever wants to haggle. Products have to move, so Elizabeth, please come on up.
We have been very fortunate to have a lot of wonderful people to work here.
There you go. Come out.
We have been very fortunate to have wonderful people work here. We've had a bookkeeper who, even though at times was very difficult, she was able to write those checks and get them out in the mail. She has worked for B'nai Jacob for 16 years, and we appreciate her devotion because it was not always easy. This is for Anne, our bookkeeper. As Michael said, we were a staff of 2. But Donna was lucky. She always had some steadfast people that would come in and help her get that bulletin out. And one of them was our other Ann. And every mailing that went out, her fingers worked it. So we would like to give you something.
Oh, thank you so much.
Donna, would you please come up? Donna and I worked on many things together. Most of them was I was putting the checks in and Donna was making sure they bounced. There's not many women at B'nai Jacob that know that there is a basement to this building, let alone where it is. I, for one, do not know where it is. Donna is on a first-name basis with the boiler. She and the boiler have their little talks and she gets it to work. She dusts the bima, she pulls the weeds outside, she waters the flowers, she goes into the kitchen to do whatever has to be done. She greets all the repairmen. Those are her extra jobs. She takes care of all the rabbi's business. She takes care of all our business. She works very, very hard for this temple, and I know she has grown to love everyone in this temple. And She has served us for 9.5 years. She's given her heart and soul to B'nai Jacob. And we want to thank her from the bottom of our hearts for her.
You know, it really is true that Donna was a one-man band. And Rabbi, too, I mean, frankly, it's stunning. If you were part of B'nai Jacob, you knew that you wore any number of hats and that you had responsibilities that extended well beyond your job description. But it all seemed to work. Next. Well, firstly, I want to thank Yael Neffinger and her crew for this meal. And it's been a great You know, she's shy, so see if we can get her to come out. No? Oh, there she is. Okay. Thank you. You know, I think it's appropriate, I said this on the way in, that tonight is a perfect night for B'nai Jacob final dinner. 110 degrees, humidity of 90, and the air conditioning is not working. But don't worry, Bob Kahn's got a guy who's going to give a deal on repairing it. You know, I'll never forget when I was president, Bob had a guy who was going to do a deal on the water bubble. The water bubble had broken, and it was down. Don't worry, I can bring in a new water bubble. He schleps in a new water bubble. So he puts it down. 6 months later, there's no water. The bubble is not attached. Why is the bubble not attached? Well, the pipe fitting doesn't fit. But I got a guy who's a plumber who's going to do it at a price. I think we had people die of dehydration. Honest to God, it was about a year that went without water in the building. True story, too. You know that. Sue Porter is next. Come on up. So Sue, many years ago when we had our Jacob's Ladder campaign, Sue was one of the leaders of that campaign.
Question. What do Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and Rabbi Mark Rudolph have in common? Oh, yes, they do. Answer. They were all born in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And just what does that tell us? Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden are indeed in very good company. Oh, yeah, me too. I forgot to mention I was born in Scranton also. Those other two may wear the one hat of politician, but Rabbi Rudolph wears 3 hats: social worker, cantor, and rabbi. And that winning congregation has translated into very good fortune for Congregation B'nai Jacob. He was hired as cantor in 1997 to work with the various rabbis who led our high holiday services following Rabbi Green's departure. As our congregation struggled without rabbinic leadership, Mark, as Chazan, was asked to provide spiritual leadership and programming. This he did with much energy and gusto, leading Shabbat services, officiating a bar and bat mitzvahs, attending board meetings, and putting together special programs such as our Women's Shabbat. Sounds a lot like what a rabbi does, right? Well, apparently Mark thought so also, and this experience was so gratifying for him that it changed his life and led him to further study to become a rabbi. Coincidentally and fortuitously, in 2004, when Mark received his ordination, Congregation B'nai Jacob once again was looking for a rabbi following the departure of Rabbi Bernstein. Need I tell you that Mark fit that bill? Mark, you have filled the past 4 years with leadership, guidance, spirituality, and friendship in a most unforgettable way. We wish you and Midi well as you continue your journey. Will you please come up? would like to present this gift to you with appreciation, gratitude, thanks, and lots of love. May you continue to go from strength to strength. For their new home.
Thank you. You may have guessed I went out of order before, but I'm sorry. Next, one of the strong attributes of B'nai Jacob was, I think, the respect and allegiance that so many of us have for rabbis historically, in how, in particular, Rabbi Green has had a historical relationship with this synagogue. And for those of you who don't know, Rabbi Green was the rabbi of this synagogue for 20 years? Close. I'm rounding off, work with me. And he is here tonight to speak. When he was our rabbi, he was truly, although I was a tad younger, truly a kind, wonderful human being, and I'd like to welcome him back.
Thank you. Gosh, it's always hard to come back home again, especially for an occasion like this. I guess what I want to say is thank you. Back in 1978, I was a fresh kid out of rabbinical school, and you were probably the only people who knew me back then with red hair. My present congregation has no idea that I was the one with the red hair, and Judy had the gray hair at the time. I was so pleased and happy that this synagogue took a chance on a green rabbi right out of rabbinical school. That the people that I remember go back even a little bit farther. People like Sadie Norton, Alehel Shalom, and Joe and Jean Oken, Alehel Shalom, and Mr. Chase, who used to read Torah for us, and so many other names that I don't want to mention too many others, but it really had a great impact on my life because I really did come here fresh out of school, so fresh that Judy and I were just recently married, and I think it was Sylvia Allen who called out Mrs. Green, and my wife looked around to see where was my mother. She was not used to that title. My 19 years here were always very special, that you took a chance on me, and I really grew and learned so much because of your love and your support. My 4 boys were born here, and still to this day, some of their very closest friends still come from the greater Springfield area. Their ties run deep and long. And I think that's what really makes B'nai Jacob so special. What brings Judy back all the time. It's not this building. It's not the pews, but it's really you. You are really our friends, our colleagues, our teachers, and we're so grateful that you included us in this celebration of B'nai Jacob tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. After your comments about the hair, I have more Henry Youngman jokes if you want to share them. You might need them later on if you get in trouble. You know, we were honored recently to have a very competent young rabbi, Michael Bernstein, who had been with us, and beyond competent, very fine rabbi, who moved on, and he did send us a letter. But before I read that letter, you said something that reminded me, Joe Oken, and God bless his memory, but his picture is somewhere in this building. Does anyone know where his picture is? Oh, okay. If anyone hadn't seen, the picture of Joe Oken was in the front hallway of this synagogue forever. And he was a person who, and he would sit up when we were kids, he would always be up on the bima every holiday. Any event. Rabbi Bernstein has sent us an email, which I will read. After having the honor of sharing so many simcha, as well as being together in times of loss, I am with you in my heart at this most bittersweet of occasions. B'nai Jacob was my first pulpit, and from the very beginning of this moment, I have felt your warmth, openness, and welcoming spirit. These past months have seen the loss of so many pillars of the B'nai Jacob community. When I heard of Elliot Allen's passing, I thought of how he introduced himself to me. Rabbi in quotations, he said in his regal but humble way, we want you to inspire us, to aspire us for Judaism. I guess that's why we sweated it out to the end. Elliot, how appropriate. Elliot also would often say at the end of Minyan, count yourself last. Each of you counts as the 10th. B'nai Jacob was always a place where everyone counted. I always thought that it was fitting that our congregation is called B'nai Jacob, the children of Jacob. As much as our building was a jewel, it was always about the people. Plenty of individuality, even eccentricity, but tons of dedication and a great deal of menschenach. Another connection to our name is a lesson learned from different blessings of Jacob. He first experiences the presence of God in a dream, envisioning a ladder to heaven grounded in a special and holy place. Later, however, while wrestling with an angel, he discovers that it is in the face of another that the divine can be most meaningfully found. We also find ourselves grappling to find a blessing that as we leave behind a special and holy place, may we find divine presence in each other and in our neighbors, and inspire to be inspired. Shalom, your Rabbi. And that is from Rabbi Michael Bernstein. Thank you, Rabbi. Next, I'm told
Miss Yale is going to be singing.
that Yael Leffinger is going to come on up.
Right, she will be singing in the back corner. So if everyone can focus towards that direction.
No, I'm going to sing with them. All right. Hi. I hope you all enjoy the food. I always wanted to sing to this congregation, and this is kind of like a little gift from me to you. I sing in Makela, and I enjoy singing a lot, so almost as much as I enjoy cooking. This song was written and given to me by the person, given to Makela actually. It's talking about the author and about leaving and about people who leave their places and how wiser the person gets and how wiser the roads get as more people leaving, and then about people coming back, and love always stays. And I thought that this is an appropriate song for this congregation tonight. And I want to thank Dan Belmont, who is a member of Makela, who agreed to come and play for me tonight.
this kind.
Okay. First, of course, I have to thank the committee personally because it was a fantastic group. And of course, there's been many references to the night and the beautiful evening and all the work. I want to make a reference to the TLC of the night. Not the committee, but the caring. What we talk about all the time. The fact that we're the B'nai Jacob family. Not the community, but the family. Because I think that's what's going to get us through this. I don't have much time. I won't cry. I don't have enough time for it. So, let me tell you that why was this night, why has this night been so special? Obviously, because like a family, or maybe a little bit more, because there were so many people caring for it, you have no idea how this committee, this group, cared for this family. Every detail, as I'm sure you're saying, oh, I can see that. Every detail, down to the picture on the invitation. No, this picture is better because the tree is better. And of course, selecting exactly which plates. And no, not this chicken, that chicken, no, of course not fish, yes, fish, no. Every detail was discussed to make sure that the family would have it just right. Even down to the last meeting and the last detail, so that everybody would be comfortable and could sit where they wanted to sit. The decision was no assigned seat. So I just wanted you to know that that was the love of family. And why do I say that? Because I think, well, we refer to that all the time, and like at any family dinner, you go through the motions of a family dinner, and you go through, as we have tonight, the memories, the hugs, the ups and the downs. You reminisce, you laugh, you cry a little, and then you anticipate departing. Well, we're not going to send people off to school tonight. We're going to make a transition. Rabbi kind of taught me this when we talked about this earlier on. We're making a transition. But we're a family. You know, we're always going to be a family. And we're going off in our separate ways. Not everybody is going to that level. But we're going to we are going to remain a family. Just as when families go off, and you might celebrate in different places, you remember, as I remember, and recall Judy at Pesach and say, are you making the Passover, you know, your sponge cake, and how many eggs was it? We're still sisters of sort. We're still the B'nai Jacob family, and I still remember Shalach Manas and Purim with my B'nai Jacob family, and it just happened to be here in town. You know what I'm saying. We're going to continue to be family. So here's my wish. We're supposed to be making a toast momentarily, so if you have a glass, put something in it. Don't take up too much time because I have to keep moving. My wish for all of us as we transition and enter this new year is to seize every opportunity to remember our B'nai Jacob family. When you close your eyes and hear the blast of the shofar, when you light Shabbos candles, when you open a prayer, we will always continue to be the B'nai Jacob family. And with that in mind, I ask you to raise your cup to congregation, B'nai Jacob.
Thank you, Candy. You know, to expand on what Candy said just slightly, I would term it not just a family, but a religious democracy, where every person mattered, every vote counted. There was no electoral college. If you had a grievance, you got involved. Your vote mattered. It was like Cheers. Everyone knew your name, and everyone wanted to know your name. And that is something we hope that will follow us as we travel around. You know, in terms of this being a sad moment, it truly is a sad moment for so many of us. But as we were discussing the transition, and debates were occurring, and by the way, the debates that occurred around this, what we were going to do, were remarkable, because it truly was democracy, with open and honest discussion. And it was something to behold if you were not a member of the synagogue, to watch. What somebody said, maybe it was Bob Gershon, frankly, who said, this is the natural order of things. That, and Rabbi said earlier tonight, that it's a life cycle, and it's not necessarily sad, it's just factual what's happening. Now, there are so many long-term members here who've been part of so many of our lives, and I certainly hope, and my mother could not be here tonight, unfortunately, she's just not up to it. But for those long-time members, I can only imagine what you must be going through today as this building gets ready to shut, and hope that you travel with us across the street, and certainly I would imagine that Temple Bethel will welcome you and all of us with open arms. Selfishly, I hope that as many of you in this room who are members come to Bethel as possible, but I understand that many will not. To those, I wish them the best as well. Now, I guess the closing remarks are up to me. The toast was already made, but let me read something that I've drafted, just my way of saying goodbye to this 100-year religious democracy, and I can't get by that expression because I think to me that's what expresses it best. Others may use family. And although it's hard to imagine this is our last gathering under this roof, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. For Congregation B'nai Jacob, it is time to end our 100-plus year journey as an independent congregation. It is now time to gather our stones together with the other members of the conservative Jewish community or other congregation that you might go to. It is time to embrace each other, cast away differences, and to rend and sow anew. Congregation B'nai Jacob's spirit will continue its journey, albeit under a new roof, a cover that welcomes our ideas, I hope, our energy, and encourages our spirit to live on. So in conclusion, let me read, believe it or not, an Irish blessing that I think is appropriate, because there are those in this room who claim I'm mostly Irish. May love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home. May good and faithful friends be yours wherever you may roam. May peace and plenty bless your world with joy that long endures. May all life's past and seasons bring the best to you and yours. So in conclusion, I wish all a safe and healthy journey to wherever they may go. And I ask Rabbi Rudolph to have closing Birkat Hamazon and lead us in that, please. Thank you. Plastic B'nai Jacob.
Magic.
say just one thing. Everyone gets a mom. Please take a mom as a token for tonight's event. Also, the shot glass is, please make sure everyone takes one before they go home. Thank you.
Whenever we do this, it's already happening. Whenever we do the beer, one of my pet peeves is whenever we do the beer Mazon, most people are talking or socializing, and only a few people are really singing. So this being our last time together to say the beer Mazon, it'd be great if we could have all of your attention and everybody sing. Let's in fact raise the rafters here. And the other thing is, we're always, whenever we do the beer Mazon, we always have this debate, should we do the long one or the short one? Let's do the long one. Why not? Joseph knows. We're on page 82, but let's hear everybody. Rabotai Nevarei. Elohim Shacham Mishalom. Baruch Elohim Shacham Mishalom. Tuvo Chayinu. Baruch Hu Avon Shalom. We're on page 84. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu le'olam. Asam et ha'olam kulo v'tuvo. Elohim, Page 92. B'nai Yerushalayim, Yira Kodesh B'nai Rabbi Yameinu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Omen V'Rachamam, Yerushalayim, Amen. Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Eloheinu Malkeinu, Adirenu, Goreinu, Goaleinu, Yotzreinu, Midoshenu, Kedosh Yaakov, Roei Yisrael, Kamelech HaTov HaMitiv L'Kol, Shebachol Yom V'Yom, Hu Hiktiv U'Meitiv U'Yetiv Lanu, U'Gmalanu U'Gomleinu U'Yimaleinu L'Chen L'Chesed U'Rachamim U'Revachat Salam V'Atzlacha U'Bracha Yishua Nechama Parasam V'Kol Abraham V'Chaim Shalom V'Chol Tov Mikol Tov Li'olam Al Yechaz Reinu Harachaman Yivloch Aleinu Li'olam Va'ed Harachaman Yiparach B'Shamayim U'Ba'aretz. Oh, honey, you're good on me after all these. Harachaman U'Yishtabach B'Dor Dor V'Yiparach B'Lanes V'Chatzamim Yidadar Banu L'Adolei Olamim. Amen. That's great. Harachaman Yiparach Farnesim B'Chavod. Amen. Harachaman Yishbur L'Nmeal Savareinu Godol Yicheinu Kol Amir Li'Arseinu. Amen. Harachaman, may God send many blessings upon all of us and upon all who are dying here, gathered here together. Page 94, Harachaman, U'Yishlachanu, Eliyahu Hanavi. Harachaman, U'Yishlachanu, Eliyahu Hanavi Zachor Lakol. Vivaselanu lanu, Vivaselanu lanu, Vivaselanu Besorot Avot, Yeshuot v'nechamot. Let's turn to page 96, selection 17. Maharon Yelamdu Alehem Ve'aleinu Zehut El Nishmer Shalom V'Nisarach Alech Adonai U'Tzedaka Eloheinu V'Nitzavim B'Sefer Tov B'Neinu Elohim V'Yam. I invite those of you who are facing me to turn around and see the beautiful sanctuary as we sing on page 99, top of page 99. Ma Yeshua